Well, hello there and welcome back to this F1 2017 Sauber career mode, and we are at Australia. One of the happiest moments that we get in the season is starting off fresh again. Everyone's on 0 points and we can really make a good start and a good impression and maybe start fighting the Mercedes and Ferraris in the next few races. But we're here at Australia for round 1 of season 4. Season 4. I don't know how many other people out there have managed to take a career mode into season 4. I know a lot of people probably got bored of the game at this point, but not me and not you guys either, that you continue to watch, and I'm very grateful for it. So the first thing we'll do then, we'll listen to the voicemail and have a look to see what our qualifying objective is going to be. So qualifying 11th place and beat Magnussen, who is our rival. I'm sure that once the card continues to improve, we should get some new rivals. I'm getting a bit bored of coming across Grosjean and Magnussen every time. So then, new season. At the end of last season, if you did watch it, you would have seen that we done the 4th and will be final resource points discount upgrade, if you like, for the aerodynamics section, which I'll be starting on at some point this season. And we spent the rest of our points on 2 major upgrades. And as you can see there, what it's done for us. So there we go, the aerodynamics. All 4 of these are now done. There's no point spending 2,000 on these to get it a bit cheaper, because I've probably got 20 of these to upgrade, but in the long run it's a bit pointless. So we moved over to the powertrain. And we got this major upgrade done, which is for the fuel consumption. The ECU can be reprogrammed to better coordinate the harvesting and deployment of the engine, meaning fuel consumption can be improved. And this one here, again, fuel consumption upgrades to the energy store cells, the batteries, results in less wasted energy, meaning more deployment can be utilised throughout a lap, thereby resulting a greater fuel efficiency. So saving fuel all the time. And what's that's done for us? If I do click back on this again, how do I do that? Do I do it that way? How do I do it? How do I do it to get the... I'm a bit tired here. What's going on here? Right, there we go. It doesn't matter. There we are. Yeah, so if we look there, we can see the vehicle performance. Everyone is still the same. R&D and progress, you've still got this major one to do, and the progress history. So all teams in the off-season improved. By the looks of it, everyone did a major upgrade, apart from Haas, who did a major and a minor, and apart from us, who did 2 majors. So we're now bang on the money with Renault. We're very even with them, and just a bit ahead of Toro Rosso and Williams, but there is a massive gap of about, I don't know what it is that points or percentage on the left hand side, but we're about 410, and I'd say Force India at about 490. So once we jump Renault, I think this season we're just going to be closing the gap on Force India as best as we can. So yeah, we're starting to get away with all of this now. As you can see there, the chassis was still ahead in that. The aerodynamics, we are unfortunately plumb last on that one there, and the powertrain as well. We are we've crept up now. We've managed to jump Toro Rosso, Renault and Haas, and we're just behind Red Bull. So I think once we get these upgrades done, it'll probably put us at the front, but not by much, and then we'll still have 2 more ultimate upgrades to go. Not much else to look at then. Power unit number 1 for everything, 6, 7, 8%, something like that. So we'll go straight to qualifying. The weather conditions for qualifying race is going to be dry but cloudy, so there might be a chance of rain, but I don't think so. So hopefully we can get through the first session relatively unscathed. Pace in practice is being a bit iffy. For whatever reason, I've gone a bit backwards at Australia compared to other seasons. So we should be able to get a Q1, but I think Q2 might be a bit of a struggle. So we'll give it a go, and hopefully we'll have no problems. So there we go then, the end of Q1. We've just made it into Q2. I wasn't lying when I said I was struggling around here, and I think Q3 is going to be a bit out of our reach, unfortunately. It looks like everyone's pretty fairly balanced, it must be said, down in the midfield. The 5 drivers eliminated then: Kvyat for Toro Rosso, Massa, Van Dorn, Stroll and Pascal Wehrlein, who still can't seem to get off the back row of the grid. I mean, he does every now and again, but lining up 20th, and we're now, we're on the pace of Grosjean, who's in 9th. So I think our performances, I think it's just Australia. Hopefully it isn't going to be like this all the way through the season. We have made it through to Q2, but I think that's probably as far as we're going to go. But it's a shame that Wehrlein still can't seem to shake that 18th, 19th, 20th place bug. But we'll move into Q2 then, and hopefully we can pull something out of the bag to maybe creep into Q3. But I think our qualifying will be ending after the next session. No, we haven't done it. 12th place is the best we can do, although it was less than a 10th away from getting into the top 10. But yeah, unfortunately then, 12th place is the position we're going to be starting in. Hamilton, Vettel and Bottas all locked into starting on the super soft tyres, whilst the rest of the top 10, including both the Haas cars, will be starting on the ultras. So eliminated from 11th to 15th in order is Sainz in 11th, and we're on the same row as him in 12th place. Alonso 13th, Palmer 14th, and Hulkenberg in 15th place. So pretty disappointing overall, but our pace in practice has been sort of around this area, 12th, 13th, 14th. So we'll definitely be going for the one stop then if it is available to us, and hopefully we can get ourselves inside the top 10 come the end of the race. But not the best start to the season, but things can only get better. So the resource points for the qualifying session will be down on what it usually is, 105 I think is the max we can get. We've only picked up 70 in that, takes us up to 634 in total. Yeah, Magnus has out-qualified us unfortunately, so he now leads the rivalry by a single point. Our reputation has gone down a little bit of all the teams. I think it just resets itself at the beginning of every season, which is a bit disappointing, and we failed to hit our session goal of 11th place or higher. So we'll listen to the race goal then and see what this is. 11th place and beat Magnussen again. So not much else to look at then. No point changing bits or having a look at that. Obviously we're on to the first unit for everything. So yeah, we'll go to the grid, see what the final grid order is going to be, and then sort out our race strategy.
Verstappen, Ocon, Perez, Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen, Sainz and the Sauber, Fernando Alonso and Palmer, Hulkenberg, Fiat, Felipe Massa and Stoffel Vandoorne, Stroll and Pascal Wehrlein completes the grid.
So then, no grid penalties, which is a bit obvious really, first race of the season. Yeah, one stop then, high tyre management is fine, 5 seconds quicker on the 2-stop, 5 seconds slower on the 2-stop, but we will stick with one stop. We'll start on the soft tyres and go to the supers, that's fine. Extra fuel, we'll bump it up to 3 laps of extra fuel. I don't want to push too hard with the rich fuel mix because it will eat through our tyres at a quicker rate. Lap 16 then. 16 laps on the soft tyres followed by 13 on the supers, that's fine. We might have to pit a couple of laps earlier or later, but hopefully we can make the one stop work and have a clean start to the race. So we'll get the formation lap out of the way then, and then get the first round of season 4 on the go. So here we are then, first race of season 4. Let's pray for a clean start. Lights out and away we go now. Car's already ahead, jinking around ahead of me. Situation behind this, Palmer's up the inside, so let's force us to the middle of the track. Oh, there's going to be contact with a few cars. We've managed to get away with no damage though, and hold on to our 11th place. Oh, Sainz locked up a little bit. We'll go around his outside, versus into the top 10 then. Be nice if we could stay with Magnussen, but he is on the ultras. Nice move, 9th place. So come around to start lap 4, DRS is being activated, you can see I'm currently running it. I'll put it into rich mix for a couple of laps here, just so I can close up in this 4-car train, which is being led by one of the Mercedes drivers, not too sure which one it is. If we can stick with these guys, because they're all on the ultras, it'll put us in good stead for the second half of this race. So just coming into lap 7, Bottas pitted a couple of laps ago, and he actually started on the super soft tyres, which is a bit of a surprise, and he was at the head of this pack here, and now that all these guys on the ultras have been released, they're slowly starting to pull away. Ocon's just made a pit stop, and Sainz has an engine issue, so in 7th place for now and looking fairly comfortable. If we can stay relatively close to these guys, I think most of them are going to be on the 2-stop. We're going for the 1, so this is a sort of race that's going to come to us in the later stages. So into lap 10, Raikkonen, in fact everyone has now made their first pit stop. That was ahead of us, and Raikkonen has rejoined in 2nd place just behind us, so we'll probably lead this lap, and I reckon Raikkonen will get back past us again. But our main battle is with the likes of I think Perez and the Red Bulls as well, so if Raikkonen puts a move on, I won't make it too difficult for him to get past. So here he comes then, flashes past us with his DRS, pushes us down to 2nd, but that's okay for now. We're just sort of focusing on our own race and trying to take these soft tyres as far as possible. So it's just coming up to start lap 13. the car's starting to understeer quite a bit already on these soft tyres. So I think it's only going to be a couple of laps before I bail in for the super softs. Vettel behind is catching us, but Jeff has just told me that he's got an engine issue. But he's still on the ultra soft tyres, so I reckon he's still going to be behind us because we are quite slow at this point of the race. But we're going to keep pushing on with these tyres, and hopefully we can get them as far into the race as possible. So then, coming into lap 16, Vettel is behind me, and I think one of the Mercedes is catching a pair of us. Ricciardo has just retired from the race, as has Stroll, and I would very much like a safety car or a virtual safety car to come out towards the end of this lap, because that would save us a bit of time. Don't think it's going to happen though, but I think we're going to be pitting at the end of this lap because these tyres have absolutely had it. So coming into the pits now then, looks like Vettel behind us pitted as well, so we're going to be in a direct fight with him. Where we rejoin doesn't really matter because there's still people ahead of us that have got to pit. So we're out in the 8th place, just between Verstappen and Magnussen. There's a few people ahead of us that are still yet to pit. We've got an outside chance of a podium here. We've got to make these super softs work and get them to the end of the race if we're going to achieve it. Oh, the yellow flags are out. I'm sure, so it might be Verstappen up ahead. It is. So Verstappen pulls off. That promotes us up to 4th place. Both Red Bulls out of the first race of the season, which gives us an opportunity because I want to be ahead of both of these guys by the end of the season. So we've already got a good advantage here. So I've just noticed then, lap 20 of 29, Perez is ahead of us. We're catching him quite quickly, and he's on the soft tyres, which tells me at this stage of the race that he's already made his one and only stop. So we've got to try and hunt Perez down here to try and get back on the podium if we can. Having said that, Hamilton's just come out the pits. He's going to be slow into turn 1. We might be able to get a run on him down out of turn 2 into turn 3. What is our power and the slipstream like against the Mercedes? Oh, up the inside, we make a little bit of contact. Oh, car understeers as well a little bit. Ah, fuck, I think we've just lost the opportunity to get past Hamilton. We'll try and stay with him though, because he'll definitely be catching Perez up ahead. So coming into lap 24 of 29, we're not really catching Perez. Hamilton has buggered off into the distance, and Vettel's engine problems have disappeared because he's now 1.2 behind us, and I think it's only a matter of time before Vettel is with us and past us as well, which will demote us to 5th. So the outside chance of the podium, it's gone for the moment, but we'll try our best to defend from the Ferrari for as long as possible. So here he comes around the outside. We'll leave the braking really late. And he's still there, got the inside for turn 4 now. So we've now lost 4th place to Vettel. I was never really going to stay ahead of him, I don't think. We're just not quick enough against the Ferrari and the Mercedes at the moment. Oh, Kvyat's at the race. That's 4 retirements. That's the most I've seen for a very long time, and I quite like it, to be honest. I like races with attrition. It's quite exciting to see who finishes where and who actually manages to get to the end of the race. So just 16 drivers left then. Still a few laps left to go as well. We're pretty much locked onto 5th place meanwhile. I've taken it out of Rich Mix. We were never going to stay with Vettel. Bottas is several seconds back and not catching. So we look pretty nailed on for 5th place, which is a promising start to the season. So into the final lap now. Bottas has managed to bring the gap down from about 7 seconds to less than 2, and that's mainly because our super soft tyres are pretty much dead. So I'm going to be defending, coming out the final corner against the Mercedes driver. Confident I can keep him 5th though. So there's just 1 corner to go. I've got Bottas right on my tail. I think we're far enough ahead though, so it's a 5th place. Yeah, we'll get it. 5th place just in our first race. So there we go, the Raikkonen's one of Hamilton pipping Perez to 2nd place in Force India, ending up in 3rd, Vettel 4th, and we just about managed to hang on to 5th place ahead of Bottas. Behind him, Palmer and Hulkenberg, double points finish for Renault, with Ocon in 9th and Magnussen rounding out the top 10. 1-stop strategy, again, proving, I say, the correct strategy really. We wouldn't have been 5th if we had to do a 2-stop. Same for Perez in 3rd. He wouldn't have had a podium if he had to do a 2-stop as well. So yeah, I think this season I'm going to try to do a 1-stop as often as possible if we can get away with it, because it seems to be the better strategy to have in these 50% distance races. Outside the points in, Grosjean 11th, Massa 12th, Alonso 13th, Verline 14th, ahead of Van Dorn and Sainz, who was a lap down. down. 4 retirements then: Kvyat, Verstappen, Ricciardo and Lance Stroll. So the standings will be the same as the race order. 5th place for now on 10 points, so we're behind Perez but we're ahead of both the Red Bulls, so that's nice. And we're still technically on target to finish in 5th place. That's what I want this season, 5th place in the drivers. Constructors as well, we're in 4th place there, level on points with Renault but have the better head-to-head. Ferrari maintain the top of the pile as they did last season, and starting off season 4 at the top again, 37 to 26 for Mercedes. So the resource points, this should be the maximum 125. We've had a very good race, indeed it is. And the first driver bonus as well. Qualifying was pretty average, but the race and the practice sessions very good as usual, takes up to 815. The rivalry, we've done very well against Magnussen there, so we now retake the lead of that 9 to 8, and in the following weekends I should be able to increase that gap as well. Team approval has jumped up very well there with everyone. We will be back at the top of the purple like we usually are, so that's always nice. And the career score as well for the full weekend. So qualifying down a little bit unfortunately, but we've had a penalty-free weekend and the difficulty modifier as well brings us up to 8723. Season total then 7323, and the career score nearly at 550,000. Oh, we have a classic car event. This is interesting. We have 2 to go, so after we do this we'll have 1 left, and then we'll be able to do the ultimate upgrades for 3 weeks instead of 6. We've got a time attack at Azerbaijan and a pursuit at Britain Short, which I will do. So we'll have a quick look at the laptop. Shall we do an upgrade or not? 815 resource points, so that is this major and this minor as well. I might leave them both and get both of these done at the same time, which will be 1050, which we'll be able to do after the second race, and that will probably bump us up, I'd say, ahead of Williams. We could do one now, there's no harm in that, and if it fails then we can always do it again for less money. Yeah, we'll do it anyway, shall we? So this one, we'll do this in the crankshaft for engine power. A stronger crankshaft can handle additional engine load, meaning power output can safely be increased without additional wear. Yep, that's fine, so we'll get that developed as well, and that should hopefully just about put us ahead of Red Bull. And if that does come in, we'll have 2 minors and 2 majors left to go until the powertrain is complete before the ultimate upgrades, and then we can crack on with the aero, which we do need a lot of work in. So to summarise then, qualifying was average, Q2, which is pretty much what I expected, but the race went well. We lost a bit of time towards the end of both of our stints, unfortunately. Once the tyres hit about 35%, they pretty much hit the cliff and we were struggling a lot of understeer. It would have been nice to be on the podium. I didn't actually count the fact that Perez had managed to do the 1 stop. If he had made a pit stop a couple of laps after us, we would have probably been on for a net 4th place, but it's a 5th place of the first race of the season, which is always very nice, and hopefully we can build on that for the following episodes. So I'll get this invitational event done off camera, and then when we come back hopefully we'll have good news on the minor upgrade. So thank you very much for watching the start of season 4, and I'll see you all for the next episode very soon.